So again, another loss case here. The claimant was basically arguing they had to use third-party vendor software, which was closed source, and they had to develop algorithms or methods to understand the underlying data in order to port it and move it simpler. And as we've mentioned, based on the first case, they used terms like data mining, and the CRA argued that, well, data mining's been around since 2008. CRA actually did a software project example on data mining of what should be eligible back in 2009, but then they repealed that in 2012. So a lot of people thought, well, data mining is one of the areas that the CRA is favorable about. The CRA expert said, well, data mining's existed since 2007. Information about it's publicly available. And I guess basically they didn't benchmark well enough how that information was not applicable to what they were doing. Okay? The judge did state things, though. So I pulled the statements out. I'm saying if a judge makes a statement about what he or she was looking for that they wanted to give you, I'm saying, well, okay, even though the client lost, let's look at what they were looking for and why couldn't we supply that, so that that would be the lesson we're learning. So the judge agreed that an amalgam of different techniques may constitute technological advancement. So they're not saying software can't be SR&ED, that taking different techniques and putting different techniques, hybridizing different techniques together to get a sum that exceeds all of the parts, let's say, could be a technological advancement. However, it's only so where a new technique is created that's never been previously used in that particular industry. I would, I don't agree with the wording, but I would say you have to do a due diligence search or prior art search or standard practice search, or we've got a lot of synonyms for the same thing depending on what field we're talking about, but they all basically mean the same thing. Find out what readily available information is out there to someone skilled in the art and show that those solutions don't apply here. And I mean, the courts have been very favorable in this because really all the CRA says is that the client should take reasonable steps, to find out information available in their industry. The question really becomes what's reasonable. What's reasonable to me may not be reasonable to you, and vice versa. We can go on general parameters that a $10,000 project probably requires less due diligence than a $10 million project, but that may not be the case. The $10 million project could be so technologically advanced that only 3 people in the world even know about the science, so it's really easy. You've got the due diligence done at the start. I don't know. Each project's really like a snowflake. It's a completely individual project, and it will have its own nuances. So again, I'm looking more for generalities. So saying that at least we're getting positive information here. In this particular case, the claimant didn't provide enough information to show us what was routine and what wasn't. Okay, so again, the cases that are losing show what methods were readily apparent to someone skilled in the art. And that's a defensible position, I think, for the tax courts. Again, this is a bit of a shift in policy, though, I would say, because interoperability used to be one of 6 or 7 key criteria that were used to determine what types of things were technological advancements in software. So I would say, as a practitioner, what's eligible in the software field is kind of in a state of flux right now, and that's shifting. It's shifting to a more restrictive definition. But benchmarking against standard practices is probably the real lesson to take away from that.